Hello everyone, I'm here today with Michelle and we've been in contact quite a bit because naturally, as you can probably guess, we're both projectors. But Michelle has been in the business and marketing world for many years and she holds a lot of knowledge and wisdom on this area. So I wanted to invite her on to share with other projectors because her way of marketing is actually almost like a 180 spin of how we're taught to do marketing. So I'm excited to have Michelle on today and to have her wisdom and knowledge. And welcome, Michelle.
Thank you, Charlie. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, it's awesome to have you here. So tell us briefly just a little bit about what you feel like marketing is in the world today and how people go about it, and then how you feel it's ideally different, and especially for projectors.
Yeah, so I think that most marketing today is either one of two things. It's either predatory marketing, where companies or people are going after a target audience and treating them like a number, like eyeballs, clicks, or it's like people are not being their true selves as they're trying to grow their business. So there's a lot of like inauthenticness around it, and it falls into one of those two categories, like predatory or inauthentic marketing. And then my approach is anti-marketing. So
anti-marketing.
Yes.
Sounds interesting.
Basically, like, it's the idea is that you want to be your true self in your business and every facet of your business, from everything like the little details to big details. So in order to do that, you actually have to know your true self and your true nature, which is kind of part of the battle. And when you're acting as your true self, like, people can really feel that, and it just makes a huge difference with everything from your communication to the offers that you make to like the freebies that you give out, and people just feel it, and it really makes you stand out.
Totally. Yeah. So that term definitely jumped out at me, and I was like, wow, that's like the projector term. We really need to like do the opposite of marketing, of what we're taught, because the marketing we've been taught is, like what you used, predatory, or it's like a forcing. The energy is like a taking and like a forcing and like reeling in. Whereas an anti-marketing is, it sounds to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds to me like it's more of an offering, or it's more of a fine tuning of my own maybe gifts and potential and frequency, and then it's some form of offering out into the world. Is that anti-marketing in a way, or a part of it?
Yeah, definitely. It's human centered. So first of all, you're bringing your human self into your business, and then you're treating your customers or clients as human beings. And they have emotions, they have desires, wants, and questions and needs and all these things. And you're not just treating them as an object, like a target. You're actually bringing the humanness back into business, which I think we need a lot of, especially today. And yeah, definitely it's an offering. It's like about giving. So no matter what business you're in, you're giving your best, you're giving of your talents or your product or whatever it is, and you're giving correctly. So you're not like draining yourself or killing yourself or bending over backwards, but you're like finding the most precise way to give to your customers or your audience or whoever, and they love it. So they're like happy to pay you and they want to keep doing business with you.
That makes sense. So it's like and this totally blends into being a projector, because the projector aura is very focused, very penetrative. So it's very direct. So it's like it can be like, if then we add on to that already like directness, it's like my aura is like this, like it's almost like moving into you whether you like it or not. It's like very direct, because we're here to guide our environment. But if that's happening, and then on top of that, we're adding these marketing strategies that are pretty pretty direct and pretty bold and pretty, like in layman's terms, I guess, like pushy, then
Mm-hmm.
you can know that that can be like a triple, just like, and then it's like repelling.
Yeah, a lot of the marketing strategies or techniques that we've seen are probably generator based, which they can get away with forcing and being kind of in your face. That does not work for us as projectors. That will just, that will not end well. So we kind of have to like forget everything that we learned about marketing and do things our own way. And like all the, actually the whole idea of like marketing tips kind of doesn't work for us because our path is going to be so unique that we can't really find it out there anywhere. We might be able to find like role models that we can emulate, but we're not going to, we really have to go inside and figure out like what's true for me, what is my real business, what feels good, what doesn't feel good, what makes me proud, what doesn't make me proud. And like all the answers are inside of us, which is so tricky because like every projector is different. But yeah, we have those commonalities where the outside world just kind of isn't going to help us in the areas that we need help the most in.
Mm. Yeah, and it was interesting you mentioned the generators, and you didn't mention manifestors, but I'll lump them in to like, yeah, these marketing strategies that are taught, whether it's in school, university, courses, people pay tens of thousands of dollars for big high-level marketing trainings and things like that. Well, manifestors are here to initiate. So for marketing things like, yeah, go out and like really push that email marketing campaign or really do that. It's like they're actually in alignment. So it's like, oh, wow, they're actually in harmony. Okay, great. Life's going to really sync them up to their success. Generators, their aura is open and enveloping. So it's more like it's like this soft, warm aura that's, so then if there's this sort of pushing out marketing strategy, it's wrapped up in this softness. Projectors, then we go, oh wow, like, you know, Tony Robbins can do that or whoever. Cool, I'm just going to rip this strategy, and then it's like, but it's enclosed in this deep penetration. It's like everyone's like, whoa, like that's really intense. And yeah, the projector energy, if you're watching this, I just want you to know it's very unique. I actually ran an experience over the weekend and we did a few exercises, and one was just playing with awareness and attention, and it included a little bit of eye gazing. And it wasn't specifically a projector experience, but people knew if they were projectors or generators and things. And there was a manifesting generator who did a partner exercise with a projector. And at the end, he was like, whoa, I felt the projector energy. Like it was like you were like gazing so deep into my soul. And there was like, it was beautiful and it was intense. And like, whoa, this is like overstimulating a little bit as well. So for us projectors to know that we are really like going beyond into someone. So we need special tips, strategies in a different way, or we need to unwind to then really have people receive us and then to be ultimately recognized and find our unique success. So I'm not sure if you have anything to share about that, but yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting, that experiment. I would love to hear more about that. Yeah, like, and in terms of like our energy is very intense, and we need to be invited to share our presence and our attention because it is so strong. And the same can kind of go with your content. Like I'm a writer, so I write a lot of content, and I went through a period of like 2 years where I was sending a daily email because someone told me I should do that. And I think he was a projector actually, but part of that was I wanted to just experiment with different content. So I had like, you know, my email list, and I didn't really sell anything, but I was experimenting with all this content. But like our ideas and our content are kind of like a fire hose, and they just blast because we have so much. And our challenge is kind of to realize that some people only need a little drink. They only need a little sip. Yeah. And even if they're thirsty, they only need like a cup. So they don't need the whole thing. And even the idea of like an e-blast, an email blast, is kind of wrong for projectors because we just need to not tone it down, but like gauge the proper intensity or the proper amount to give, because it's going to be great no matter, like it can be great even if it's a small amount, if it's like one simple idea that you're putting out in your blog or email. But I had the problem where I was just trying to share too much, and I would write like an entire novel in an email and send it to, a potential client, and they would be like, whoa, I don't know. And then that's how you lose clients. It's how you lose business. So yeah, I've definitely felt that.
The fire hose. That's an interesting concept.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've got so much wisdom. We see so much. It's like, oh my God, I can help so much. Here it is. And it's like, whoa, I just wanted a few drops. And we've just blasted them and knocked them over with our penetration and our intensity and our just knowledge that wasn't asked for. So that's where the invitation is important, because if we actually get invited and there's an opening there, then we can share our wisdom and come forward.
And I just thought of something. I heard this metaphor. I can't remember where it's from, but it said like if you think of God or the universe, God, like we can't see God directly, because if we did, like we would be so changed and transformed that we would be unrecognizable from our human selves. So I feel like projectors have like this divine godly essence to them. We have a lot of wisdom. And if the other people around us were able to discern everything that we see and feel, like they wouldn't even be themselves anymore. So we have to give them like little bite-sized snippets and chunks so that they can like maintain their humanness kind of thing. But it almost reminds me of that. Like it's we just have so much light, so much goodness and amazingness. People really can't handle it all at once. They just need it a little bit at a time.
Yeah, that's a beautiful way to put it. And I've felt into something similar. It's like God plays through all human beings, but projectors are here to guide the experience of life in a way. We are here to guide the energy of life. So then God plays through projectors in more of a guiding way. And we know when it's the right time to guide, when we're invited or when there's an opening. So God's like, oh, now is the right time for you to share a bit about business to, I use the example a bit about health, for example. I was into health because I was sick, and then I would discover these things and I'd be like, whoa, this can like totally transform someone's health. So then I'd like share it with like close friends, family members, and it just wouldn't land at all. So I'd be like, okay, that's really not working. So I'd pull back. And then what it is the invitation comes, and that's like God playing through the experience, being like, now is the right time for this being to hear about this health thing. Because actually some people need to get sick before they get healthy so they can go through their spiritual transformation, so they can actually take responsibility. Whereas if someone comes over and tramples that and goes, oh, actually you need to do this and this and this, when their life experience was actually maybe taking them to more sickness so they could have this deeper appreciation of the physical body, so they could come into alignment and then empower themselves from there. They had to dip first, and we come in before their dip. Of course there's going to be friction, because God is almost like wrong place, wrong time. Stop forcing this. Stop forcing it because you want recognition, because you want success, because you think you know best. No, like I know best, like God knows best. So let's just wait for that invitation. And then the timing of and then when we can sit back into that experience of trusting God or trusting life and knowing that we are supported, then ultimately we will be deeply supported and will be in alignment towards huge levels of success and fulfillment.
Yeah, definitely. I've seen that in my own experiences as well. Like this is probably like 2 years ago, there was a client, or there was a prospective client who I thought would be a perfect fit for me because I love their product. And they came through a referral from another client, but this client did not invite me to work with them. And they like signed up to my email list, but they never said, hey, let's work together. She actually even like asked for a phone call. So we talked, but she didn't ask me to work with her. So then I kept trying to like say, oh, we should work together. And I can do this. I can do a free edit for you. I can write the sales page for you. And so I ended up working with them, and they hired me for some things. And that relationship was just awful. Like I got strep throat after doing that. And that was like God's way of smacking me like, see, you can't, you can't do that. You can't work with people unless there's some kind of like the right invitation there. Even if it's like disguised as an invitation, you got to be careful because sometimes it's not. Definitely. And they had so much resistance around everything I was suggesting to, and they weren't ready for it. The timing, you know, I don't know if they'll ever be ready for it, or maybe they're just not the right fit. But that relationship did not work for me or for them. And it was, there was a little bit of bitterness, and I definitely felt like, okay, I got to back off with inviting someone. They need to invite me.
Totally. Yeah. It's a beautiful lesson. So let's talk about some challenges that maybe we've had personally. Well, you just mentioned one, or that other people might experience, being a projector and moving into the business world and the marketing world. Does anything come up around that topic for you?
So like when you're first starting your business, or just...
Yeah, like if you're a projector and you're sort of starting out and you see all these tips and strategies, and
oh my gosh,
like there's a lot of challenge there, because I guess we're just doing the wrong thing.
I'm trying to think back to when I first started. So that would be like 2006. I quit my job in customer service, which was a full-time job, and I just ventured out into like freelance writing. So the thing that I did, and this actually worked back then, is I went and looked for an invitation. I didn't think of it that way, but I went on like Craigslist and looked at job ads. I went on like monster.com and looked at, you know, writing jobs, and I found clients. And so like all the tips and stuff, all the advice, I remember reading a book called something like How to Make $85,000 a year as a copywriter or something. And I read it, and it was just, it's good advice for someone out there, but it was not good advice for me. And I had like the worst time trying to extrapolate that into what I was doing. The thing that worked for me best was looking for that invitation and then like learning from my own work process. So with each of my clients that I had to use that experience and learn from that, because that's going to teach you directly like what you need to go. Because the advice can be such a trap and a distraction, and then you get discouraged because you're like, this is not working for me, but I'm following it so closely, but it's just not working. And part of it is also like making sure that you're in the right business. It has to be something that you genuinely love and enjoy doing, and you can't just be doing it for money. That's not a good motivation. You have to either have something that you love about it, or like find something to love about it. Yeah. And if you don't like it, you shouldn't even be doing it. If you hate it, you should definitely not be doing it. Yeah, totally. And I think for me personally, like the biggest indicator that I'm moving in a wrong direction would be if I'm noticing that I'm forcing something. So whenever I'm forcing something, it means it's either the wrong timing, or it's just I'm walking down a road that is not supporting what life wants me to do, or how it wants to use me in this world. So force is a big one, I think, for projectors to really notice. Like if I'm just like, and I noticed this, maybe I had a business like about 5 years ago or something back in Australia, and it was so much flow and everything, and then something just switched, and I noticed like, oh wow, like I'm forcing here. Like the communication between the people was just not happening. We'd like try things, and it would just like sort of, we'd be forcing. It would still be good, but we're forcing. And then I remember going in one day, we had like an office, and then we had a smoothie van set up, and I walked in, and like the door had been broken and snapped, and I was like, and these things just kept building and building. And I was like, wow, there's a lot of force for me to stay here right now. So I ended up leaving, which is ultimately was a great decision. But
this force. And when we force as a projector, we burn ourselves out, and then we get bitter. So then it's like this downward spiral.
Yeah, force is a huge one. And then like if I find myself typing a long email to someone and I just can't find the words and I'm trying to edit it over and over, but it feels kind of yucky and constricted, that's a sign that just walk away from it, like give it 24 hours or, you know. And then there's this advice that works great for probably manifestors or generators, but it says try harder. That doesn't work for us.
Well, that's that force. Yeah.
Like, if you're trying really hard and it's not working, it could be something that's not right for you, or you don't love it, or, you know, you should be going in a different direction. So it's actually like, no, don't try harder. Like look for the areas that are opening up and like opportunities are showing up, and there's like an easefulness to it. There should be an easefulness to it, because if there's not, something's just off. Yeah.
I think that's a really good point. So if you're watching this video and you can take something away in terms of like the challenge, or knowing whether what you're doing is in alignment, like this frequency of force, trying harder, pushing, this is not at all the frequency that we want to be as a projector moving out into the world, ideally looking for success or clients or these things. If you're in the business world, we really want to be coming from a more fluid, open space, and then being sort of recognized and magnetized towards people and them towards us. So Michelle, now how about let's go into some actual I don't know, some things to look at or to look for, or some strategies or something for a projector that could be really supportive in this concept of what you were talking about, like anti-marketing, like maybe going against the grain a little bit. And I think we both have a view on like attitude or intention or something like that for projectors is like extremely important.
Yeah, for me, one of the most helpful things was adjusting my attitude, because I had a very bad attitude for a long time, where I was feeling just bitter, resentful that people weren't hiring me. And I was like, well, people should be hiring me. They're so stupid for not. Like, you totally don't want that kind of attitude. You want to like do things that put yourself in an amazing attitude, ideally first thing in the morning, like whether it's getting enough sleep, going to bed early, waking up early. That is huge for me. I know that if I don't do that, I am a total night owl and I just waste the day, and that puts me in a bad mood. Diet, making sure that you're eating in a way that, you know, you don't have a mood swing or depression or something, or brain fog. Being mindful of anything that like causes you to doubt yourself. You just want to catch those thoughts and kind of flag them and just let them go. Don't investigate them. You don't even, like, you can journal on it a little bit, but don't get too deep into it. Distractions was like another thing that would mess up my attitude, especially with the current climate, like all the politics and stuff going on. I would log onto Facebook and just see so many distractions, and I would get angry. And that can definitely have an impact on your attitude. So I like reading a positive book, like a page or two. There's a book called Working with the Law by Raymond Hollywell that's really great. And I just get into such a great attitude after I read like a page of that. So that's good. And once you're in that good attitude, from there, then you can take actions. So from there you can like apply to jobs or apply to RFPs or whatever, you know, whatever you're trying to do. Because any action that you take when you have a bad attitude, it's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to end well. And you're just going to be like, this doesn't work. No.
Yeah.
So attitude is so important.
Yes, I 100% agree. And I think if you're watching this as a projector, you know, there's different levels of strictness you can abide by in terms of strategy and authority, like waiting for an invitation. You know, some people will go to the absolute extreme and be like, well, I'm like not really going to leave my house, and I'm just going to wait until I get the invitation when someone physically knocks on my door, or I get a letter about something or phone call. And then there's other people on the other spectrum that just force and force and force and force. everyone's different. So you have to find your flow in terms of, okay, and what you just said then really resonated, because it's like, I don't think we have to be so strict as a projector where it's like, well, I can't do anything. Like I can't put anything out there. Like I can't apply for anything because that's like totally against my strategy. So therefore I just have to wait. But if you can get yourself in the right attitude and frequency, and then really tune into, is there any forcing? Because if there's no forcing, and there's like, you get yourself in a good attitude, you're like, okay, I don't have a job. Let me like just explore the internet a little bit. And if something sort of grabs you energetically in that, when you're in that vibration, but if you notice like, oh, I don't have much money, I'm like this, oh my God, okay, I don't really want to do this, but I'm just going to shoot it anyway. And because then you're forcing. So really balancing with this frequency that is totally not forcing, but it's like a light, open, giving frequency, joyful frequency, playful frequency. And when you're coming from that place, I feel like, yeah, put yourself out there a little bit. You know, it's okay to sort of, as I say, like you throw something at the wall, and like sometimes it sticks or sometimes it falls off, but you don't get out your fire hose and blast down the wall. You just like, yeah, I'm in a good attitude. I'm dancing, I'm learning. And then you're like, oh, let me see if this sticks on the wall. You just throw it up there softly. And it's like, whoa, that actually stuck, you know? And then it's like, wow, let me explore that a little bit. And then, so there's just a lot more fluidity. So that's around the attitude, the frequency, and also moving into like that giving frequency offering as well.
Yeah, and you mentioned dance, doing anything physical, whatever physical activity you love to do, and you should have at least one of those. For me, it's hip hop dance, and
Okay.
doing that will put you like in a great mood or a better mood, and it just gets the blood flowing and all that stuff. And there was actually a few years ago, I was subscribed to some person's email list, and they were offering a program, and they all of a sudden in their emails, they started talking about how they were doing like this Iron Man thing or some like Spartan competition. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. And so I started reading his emails more closely, and that was like a little spark or something that caused me to join his program. And I may not have joined his program, but he was doing something that he really loved, and he like, you know, he got 6-pack abs, and I was like, damn, I want to get 6-pack abs someday. Like I should be working with somebody like that. So little things like that, like mastering some kind of physical activity, puts us in a great attitude. And it also just like draws in more like attention from possible clients. So like when I started doing hip hop dance class in like 2016, I had like the highest month that I had ever had. And I was like, whoa, but I didn't connect the dots that it was the dancing that was probably contributing to that until much later. So
yeah, beautiful.
that was a huge clue for me.
Yeah, I think that's such a big thing. I often will get certain emails or opportunities or invitations when, you know, if I go to the beach or if I play basketball or if I'm just like sitting at my desk, just grinding away. Okay, now I've got, you know, we have never ending to-do lists. You can create your to-do list that never ends if you want. And a lot of projectors do that. So we're constantly just like little thing, little thing, little thing. But then we just get burnt out. But it's about actually focusing on, okay, what do I really love to do? What's the big thing that I can do right now? And then I take a lot of time off, go for a hike, jump in the ocean, meet up with someone that's genuinely fulfilling, not, oh, because I really should, or I really haven't seen that person for a long time and I really need to like, hang out with them. It's like, who do I want to hang out with that will really fulfill me? And we just have a great time. You know, these type of uplifting your frequency. And then when you're in that attitude, that offering, that joyful expression, you know, I say joy is like an internal offering of happiness, whereas happiness is more like a taking, like, oh, I'll be happy when I get this thing or when I go to a theme park, so it's like this consumption energy, whereas joy is more of an offering. And that's, if we can give that to ourselves through play or through upliftment of our vibration, then we start to just naturally get more into alignment, and which causes more success for projectors. The opposite of force. So I mentioned giving a little bit. How do you feel like that is sort of comes into being a projector in the world of business and the world of marketing?
Yeah, I think we need to give, first of all, we need to give our best. So we need to give our best attitude, give our best mood. We need to like do our best for ourselves, because that's the starting point. We can't be giving out bad energy, even if it's subtle. We can't do it, because it's still strong.
Yeah.
So we start there, and then we like figure out what our main skill is, what are you here to do in your business, in your life? What is the thing that you can give to your customers, clients, that will make the most difference to them, and just give that. So like for me, it's kind of intangible, because I think with my clients, what I give is, it's almost like a negative. Like I don't give them drama. I don't give them complication. I don't give them long ass emails. I give them simplicity. I have a quick response time. So if they email me, can you do this? I'll respond pretty quickly. And I've built space into my day so that I can do that, so that it doesn't feel overwhelming. If I get a message like that, I can, I'm usually like doing something like cleaning dishes, and I can be like, oh, I can go do this. So I give them quickness. And I think it'll be different for everybody. Like, depending on what your business is and what you want to give. I give my attention and my deepest creative thought, because I'm a writer. Yeah. I will like write something and then go do something else and kind of work on it in the back of my mind while I'm thinking about something totally different. And then I come back to it, and, I know exactly what to change or what to add. So it's like I'm giving my energetically clean self to my work. So that's something you could give. And then more tangibly, you could give like a report that you write, or a video, or something that addresses commonly asked questions that people are constantly coming to you for help with. That would be a tangible thing to give on your website or wherever.
Beautiful. Yeah. And this goes back, I feel like ties in really powerfully to the attitude and the intention and the frequency. What we've been talking about is like a very, very important thing for projectors when we start to put ourselves out there. Is because if we're like coming from a real giving place, it's a real offering. This is a different frequency of, I would say, 99.5% of businesses. They're actually marketing from a taking point of view. It's like, yeah, I'm putting this billboard up here. Why? To get more money. Like that is the fundamental reason. It's not to help people. It's not to, like maybe that's involved a little bit, which is obviously better than something that hurts people, which there's businesses there as well. But what happens if we actually created businesses where the like one of the fundamental core values is honestly, like to the core of it, is actually, I actually want to give something here. So for example, let's say we do a YouTube video or whatever. It's like, okay, are we actually giving something of value here? Or is it like, no, this is more of a taking, I'll give a little bit so I can really consume and take from people. And it's such a little frequency that is often comes deeply through scarcity and distrust of life. And it's something we have to continually weed out as projectors, is because we're so open, people can feel us, we can feel them. If we're coming from a taking, consuming, okay, I'm going to give because really I want to get from you. I'm going to give you 15 minutes of a phone call because really I want you to sign up for my $10,000 training. Well, they'll feel that. But if it's like, sure, I want to show up for you as a human being, in that frequency, life is going to explode for you. But this constantly has to be weeded out. But then as a projector, which I think you talk about a bit, is like also boundaries, because then we can overgive. But would you say that overgiving is in the true essence of giving? Or would you say actually projectors are sometimes overgiving to get recognition or to be seen, or these things? And then how does boundaries come into that?
Yeah, overgiving happens when, I think, first of all, you haven't been taking enough care of yourself. So you're like looking outside to get the things that you could be giving to yourself, such as attention, praise, recognition. You can give that stuff to yourself. Overgiving is like, if it's kind of like, it can happen when you're, if you have a bad client, for example, and they're giving you something like drama or something that's just kind of inappropriate for a business relationship, and you're taking that on, like that's a boundary issue. And so the best thing that you could give in that circumstance is to like not engage with that particular like piece of drama or something. Like I'm trying to think of an example. Like somebody I had a client that I'm editing their book, and they needed to approve something, and they wanted me to do it, but they had to do it. So he kept just saying like, I can't figure it out. I can't figure it out. So I said, maybe you could just contact the help department, the support, and they can help you. And he eventually like figured it out. So what I was giving him was like, I'm not going to engage in this. This is not my responsibility. This is a little task that you need to figure out. And then he figured it out, and then we could move forward on that. Okay. So I didn't take that on. When we overgive, I think we're like trying to solve all these problems for the client that they didn't ask us for help with, or they need to solve it themselves, kind of thing. So that's overgiving, and that's just draining. That can make you tired and exhausted and bitter. And yeah. So we definitely have to be careful of that and keep our boundaries.
Yes. Yeah, I would say as much as possible, if you're a projector, get into the frequency of giving. So really like, okay, I'm going to create this podcast. Like, why am I creating this podcast? Is this from like taking energy or giving energy? Am I creating this because I want my business to go and get more clients and then get more money and then really that? Or am I like, no, I actually want to offer something because I'm a human to other humans and I want them to maybe be touched or transformed in some way just from this podcast. If they join something, that's cool. If they don't, that's cool. I want to really offer them something beautiful here. And then the boundaries is like, yeah, the ability to allow other people to like know that we're separate. The projected nature can be like holding everyone's stuff, everyone, and we can be consuming. But it's like, actually, that person's over there, cool. And it's a no, or it's like, oh no, you can do that yourself, or whatever. And it actually empowers them. You know, if we're too much overgiving, we're disempowering other people to grow into their fullest potential as well.
Yeah, it's a little bit coddling energy. Like you don't want to coddle anybody. And and the other thing you can give, it's very simple, but you can like give a prayer. You can, and this goes along with setting your intention, like before you're going to talk with a prospective client, or before you're going to do something like whatever it is, you can just kind of say a prayer, and you can be like, God, or whatever you believe, please work through me today and guide me on what to say, what to do, what to write. How can I best serve today? How can I best serve this person? How can I write this article in a way that uplifts the most people? That's something that I do with probably like 90% of my projects, as I say kind of a little prayer. And I think that goes a long way. Like it's very powerful because it is intention setting.
Beautiful. I love that. We hadn't spoken about that, but I do a similar thing. Not all the time, but I actually did one today with two other co-creators of the projector movement. And then before we launched a blog like a week ago, we actually jumped on Zoom specifically for that intention, to create an intention to share what we really want to offer and the vibration of this before we sent it out. So I think that's what you're referring to, which is beautiful. And And what about like financially? If you're a projector, let's say you've been working in a job, you said you worked full time for a while and then you quit. Like what happens if someone's watching this and they're in a full-time job or 4 or 5 days a week, but they're not enjoying it, they're feeling burnt out, and then they do have this sort of hobby or passion on the side? Like, how does that transition happen? How does that happen financially? Like if they literally just like stop, like how does that work? What happens? Like how would you suggest that they could slowly begin to transition to more passion, more ultimate, unique success?
So the biggest thing I think is just to have some savings
Okay,
in
so
your bank account.
pretty
And
logical thing. Okay,
and I say
cool.
that as someone who is like has always struggled to save money, but savings, like you can start that no matter where you're at. If you're in a job or you're, you're working with clients, you always want to have like some savings. You always want to save a percentage of everything you make into an account, because it calms our nervous system to know that there's money in there. And it might not seem like a marketing tip, but if we don't have any money, if we like wake up one day and we don't have any clients or work or anything, and we look at our bank account as zero, it's going to like create some neurotic behavior in us. And we're almost going to be tempted to go out and try to force the invitation somewhere, like, crap, I need to make money. And that's just not a good thing. It's not a good situation for projectors to be in. So we've got to get our money stable and consistent. And savings is like a huge part of that. And you can start small. Like, I love Dave Ramsey. He says, start by saving $1,000. If that's hard for you, like start there. And then, yeah, he's got this whole financial system that really helped me. And, that could help projectors as well. You just want to like clean up any messes in your finances, get rid of debt and all that, and build up a savings account, because it goes a long way. Because
Beautiful.
like if you had savings during COVID to tide you over, I'm sure it'd be much like less stressful than if you had zero savings during this time.
Yeah.
And I had savings, so I was like, whew, like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm good. But if I didn't have that in there, like it would have been way more stressful.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good point. And money is a topic that I think not that many people like to maybe talk about, or they think like, oh, it's a bit negative, money or something. But money impacts our lives hugely day to day. So
Yeah.
money is just energy. Like $100 note, for example, is just a representation of 100 units of energy. So if I give that to someone, I can receive energy. Like if I want a massage, that might be a 2-hour massage. And it's like, because someone's putting their presence, their time, they're giving their energy, and there's an exchange. So if you have a savings of energy, which is like money, it can support you. It's like an energetic foundation. It's an energetic support for if something didn't happen so quickly and you didn't find exactly right here, right now, your direction. Just like having the ability to potentially save, I'm not sure, like I'm thinking something like 3 to 6 months minimum, if possible, to know, oh, okay, I've still got a roof over my head, I've still got food, I've still got this. And then you can at least give it a go for 3 to 6 months. And if not, okay, well, I can always go back, save up a bit more. Sometimes it's going to be a slow transition. When I was transitioning from the business I'd created into more of one-on-one coaching and clients and these things, I was actually fortunate enough to be in Bali for about 1 year during that transition period. So I didn't have a huge amount of savings, but I had the ability of living in Bali, which was maybe 20% the cost of, another country. So it means I was paying a lot less, which gave me that confidence in a way to not overforce things. So I could sort of take that year of transition where my expenses were a lot less, which then I think after that went back to Australia or America. And then I was sort of more established. And then I could like just make it in Australia and America. And then, you slowly build up from there. But
Yeah, savings is just, I call my savings account my dignity account, like, or my dignity fund. And like, I don't like the word retirement account because I don't really vibe with retiring ever because I love
Yeah.
what I do, but
Okay.
you know, your dignity fund.
Yeah.
And it's just, there's dignity in being able to pay your bills on time, and there's dignity in being able to buy your own groceries and not having to go on GoFundMe to, you know, pay your bills, which I've seen a lot of people do. Because it's hard, and I've actually experienced that. It just doesn't feel, there's like no dignity in it, like to ask people for donations. It just sucks, and you know, it's temporary, but it's just more rewarding to be able to do that yourself and to be like, I saved this money so I have it there, and you know, life happens so I can use that money. So yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, I love that tip. And I love that it's just logical, it's practical. You know, we can talk more energetic, intention, attitude, which is so important. And then we can also talk, you know, it's good to, if you can, put away $50 a week or whatever it is to have that foundation and that safety. It's really, it's like a nervous system safety net. And I can feel it in the nervous system when I've got zero, I've got savings, you know, I can actually feel a vibrational safety that is, it's going to be easier not to come from force if I've got savings compared to if I don't have savings, it's going to be harder because I'm going to feel more like, well, this is survival, I have to force. But then it's like, it's a challenging situation to be in.
Yeah, $0 is like bone on bone in your knees, and then
Got it.
like
Yeah.
savings is cushion.
Yeah, it's a good sort of metaphor.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, we've gone over quite a few things today. We've gone over some challenges and how ultimately the world markets and how ideally us specifically as projectors can move forward. And I know you've written a book. It's not specifically for projectors, but the Anti-Marketing Manifesto. I think that's the name of it. And it's about to come out, or it already is out. And it just seems so highly relevant for projectors. So I wanted to get you on here to share about that. But you've actually written it for anyone. But yeah, I would love to hear a little bit more about that book. And if anyone wanted to find it or read it, how would they go about doing that?
Yeah, so it's the Anti-Marketing Manifesto, How to Sell Without Being a Sellout by me, Michelle Lopez Boggs is the name on the book. And it spells out my whole like philosophy and approach with anti-marketing. So I go deep into like how to create the right attitude, and it's got some practical stuff in it, but it really takes this idea of making your business and your marketing just 100% human centered. So no predatory marketing, no getting, but more about giving. And then I explain like how to do that, different ideas and things that you can do. And yeah, I think it'll be helpful to anyone, whether they're a new business owner or somebody that's established and they're looking for like that little fine tuning that can give them an extra edge. I'm really proud of it. And it's available on Friesen Press right now for sale. So if you go to my website, antimarketingmanifesto.com, I have the links for where to buy that. And then it will be on Amazon within a few weeks as well.
Amazing. And is it like, is there multiple chapters going into different topics? Is it like a big novel, or is it more like bullet points, or yeah, what's the flow?
Like 220 pages, and well, yeah, 200 pages, and there's some extra stuff in there. It's 14 chapters. Each chapter is a principle of anti-marketing, and it goes deep into all of my I've taken the best things that I've learned from being in business since 2006, and just I put it all into this book, and I think I'm really excited about it. I think it's gonna inspire people to like be their true selves. It's really about like being your true self, putting your values into your business, and not being a sellout ever. Don't be a sellout to yourself. Don't be a sellout to your customers. Don't do something just to make a buck. Like do something because it's the right thing to do. You want to do it. You love it. And then like enjoy the profits that come in.
Amazing. I'm excited for you. And I'm sure anyone who's watching is also excited to potentially read it. And if you got something from this interview as well, I'm really grateful that you just showed up and shared some of the key principles and in this talk today. It's it was beautiful to chat with you and hopefully inspire people, and hopefully yeah, if you're watching this, you can make some, whether it's practical or energetic or emotional or mental shifts, so you can come more into alignment and move through your projector essence in nature and find success. And we are here to guide, and we are here to be masters of something. And it could be more of like an open something, or it could be a very direct, like I'm a master of this specific thing. But we really encourage you from this talk to follow your joy, follow your passion, and trust that life will support you on that journey. So thank you very much, Michelle.
Thank you, Charlie.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Okay. All the best.
You too.